why I volunteered to talk about mental health. I'm not one to really talk about my feelings, and I find it really difficult to speak to people about how I feel and what I've been through. However, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I started having these episodes in the office. I thought there was just like coffee rushes, or I just hadn't eaten, or just been to the gym, and I thought, oh God, just can't focus, and heart's racing and things like that. There was a period at the start of last year where it was quite stressful with work, and there was loads of other stuff going on at home, and I was coming into work, and like me being me, just come in, cracked on, put 100% in, up early, go to the gym, get into work late every day, work weekends, and I think it caught up to me because there was points where I felt pretty out of control with what I was doing. I was doing a bit of work and just couldn't focus, and it'd be like 3 hours gone past and I get nothing done. To a point where this would happen regularly over a period of about, I don't know, maybe a year or something. And then the last 6 months got quite intense, and I was having like moments in the office where I'd have to take myself out of the office, go calm down, up to the point where I was at home once. I lost my wallet on a night out. I was at home once and I broke down the next day. Just wasn't in control of what was going on. And I found out that during that process I was having anxiety attacks. And after the first major one in the office, I took myself outside, and the only person I could think of calling was a client of ours. And they'd been through some similar stuff with stress. Like they're in a really high pressure environment, and he'd actually got some business coaching to help. And I called him and said, look, I'm going through some stuff and I really need to, just, you've mentioned it before, and I wanted to see what you thought of this. And he said, I'm not surprised. He said, a high pressure sales environment, running the business, you're going to be under a load of pressure, and it wouldn't surprise me if you're having anxiety attacks based on that. He recommended me to speak to a couple of people, and I did speak to them, and I went to say, look, this is what I'm going through, what is this that's happening to me? And they all said it's all anxiety, it's very, very common. And I hadn't spoken to my missus about this, like, as in depth. I just said, like, I'm having some issues, I need to go speak to someone. She's like, yeah, fine. I couldn't really, because I didn't know what was going on, I couldn't really explain what was going on. And it got to that. It got to the point where it got pretty intense. And then the last one, she was there, and it just got a bit out of hand, and I just broke down. I was in no control of what was going on. I couldn't think straight. And it took me a couple of hours to calm down and relax. But it was at that point I realised, I kept reading online where there's a trigger for it, and I didn't know what the trigger was. But what I did realise is I realised how I felt when it started. Your body starts to do something, and you start to think a certain way. So from then onwards, any time, it actually changed my whole thought process about just working relentlessly as hard as possible to get something done. It just got me thinking about how I felt and how that made me feel when I got into a situation like that, being under pressure, doing 5 things at once. And from then, I think the next 6 months actually eased off massively, because I was understanding how I felt and my body's reaction to these situations. And I just took myself away from it and chilled out. That was about a year ago. So yeah, it's been okay since then. I still get moments where it gets on top of me, but I'm such a different person now to then. So that's why I want to talk about it. And I know no one's ever approached me about it. And I know, and you can tell when people struggle with either whether it's demons or mental health or depression, because they will. Not all the time, because some people hide it really well, but someone will mention that. I tend to understand people mention things and go, oh, have you seen this article, or have you seen this online, or this is a really good little way to relax. And you kind of think, okay, well, you're obviously doing it because it's something you need to deal with, or something. I'm not saying it's like full on depression or anything like that, but people give signs of some sort, I feel, that they're going through something, whatever that something is. I know I was giving signs to people, but I just wouldn't talk about it to people. So that's kind of why I'm quite keen to get to talk about it as much as possible, and hopefully people see this and look at it and go, well, I've got an issue, I need to talk about it, whether it's money or family or work or not wanting to get out of bed, not motivated to do anything. I thought I was bulletproof, and I'm not. I look at everything as a process. Is you have to do one thing before you do another thing. First thing is I understand what's happening to me. I'll get agitated. First of all, I'll start to lose concentration. I'll start to flip between different things that I'm doing. Heart will start racing. Lose complete focus on what I'm doing. As soon as I kind of get to the part where I can feel myself getting agitated and heart starts racing, I just remove myself from what I'm doing, and I go and do something fun, or relax, or get out of the office, go for a walk, go get a coffee, go get a juice. Or if I'm at home, I'll remove myself from a room and put myself in the lounge on the sofa and just chill. I've learned now to switch off, which is good. So when I get home now, I switch off, no more work. I used to work till early hours, there's no point anymore because it's just too stressful. Having that time, having that free time that allows you to focus on things that matter and things that you should be doing. The bits I'm going through, I'm just assuming it's mood swings based on the situations we're going through, and they're not prolonged. They're days. One day you'll have a really good day where, you know, you feel there's a purpose to coming to work, and you feel like, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And then the next day, you're told there's 6 months worth of restrictions, and for that week you feel like there's no purpose and motivation again. But I do still feel like I'm a hard worker, so no matter what, I'll always put all my effort into doing something. It just might be from my bed in my pyjamas rather than getting dressed up, doing my hair for a Zoom call. That's the other side of it. It is a tough one, really, because first of all you have to get your head around the fact that there's other people involved and you're not the most important person in the world, and like actually you need to make sure everyone's okay, not just yourself. That's family as well, like making sure that it's not just you're suffering. You don't miss anything else out, whether it's staff or your wife or your kids or whatever. I think the key to it is like there is putting on a brave face, and there is the motivation, and there is being optimistic, and obviously you should do that because it's especially what we do and the company that we are and the people that we are. Like everyone's fairly positive, everyone wants to work hard, and you have to lead from the front. You have to show that, but at the same time you have to acknowledge that there is an issue, whether it's a business issue or what I've come to know recently, which is probably arguably too late, but you know, whether there's an issue with individuals, and actually going to somebody, which I've only done recently, and say, look, are you okay? Like, is money okay? Is house life okay? Are you finding it okay travelling in? Like we've gone through processes in part, but just being more direct with people and finding out if there's anything that we can do or help or advise on, or just being there for somebody to talk to that's not at home, you know. And then I think it's supporting people as well. Like you're gonna get, especially in our world, sales, you're gonna get a lot of people that more than usual, I'd say, that don't want the help or don't want to speak to you. And it's like you'd probably look at it and go, well, that's just natural. But now it's like, no, we need to support our staff in all of those situations, no matter what. It's not just I'll move on to the next one. It's like it does matter that they're saying no to us. Yeah, even more so now.